I've heard that life is what you make it. I say make room to grow. I'm your host, LaWanda Dockery, and this is the Make Room to Grow podcast. It all started with a dream about growing food, and who would ever imagine that growing food would lead to me learning about personal growth and development? Well, it did, and I want to bring you along for this beautiful ride. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello, Grow Nation. I have missed you guys. I hope this finds you well, and I hope you're looking forward to a beautiful spring weekend. Spring has sprung already, hasn't it? It's the weather like this that makes me really want to get out in the garden. Not to mention, this is a Resurrection Day weekend or Easter weekend. I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited about the reason that we celebrate Jesus, right? He came, he died, he's resurrected, and where will we be without him? So I have to give honor to our God. If you have not heard my original story or my origin story, it was God that gave me a dream to go out in the garden in the first place. So I give him everything in terms of honor and reverence and respect, because who created gardening in the first place? He first put us in the garden to tend and to keep it. So I tend to think that if God put us there first, we may need to be there. Just there may be something in it that he knew we would reap a benefit from. He knew that we will learn so much from the garden. He knew that we had to put our hands to something because he made us to use these hands. Thank you, Jesus. And so I just give him honor this morning. So I wanted to talk to you about a few plants that you can get going in the cooler weather. In previous years, I believe I was so eager to get started. I just threw everything at the wall to see what would stick. Number one on the list is kale. Now I'm growing two different varieties. You can hear my seed packs, I get excited. I'm growing Dazzling Blue, and that is frost tolerant. It grows in 30 to 60 days, and you're supposed to sow it in early spring. That's kale. It's a new variety that I'm trying. I also have my Russian red kale, or it's also called Ragged Jack kale. I love this kale, guys. It's so good. This also, if you're not directly sowing this, it's advised that you transplant this 2 to 4 weeks in spring. Also, this should give you a mature crop in about 50 days. This loves cool weather, so ideal temperatures for this is 45 to 85 degrees. So kale has a diverse range of what it will accept in terms of soil temperature. So that's a good thing. The Dazzling Blue, ideally same thing. This is ideally 65 to 85 for the Dazzling Blue. So I'm starting these indoors just to give it some time before the soil can heat up outside. Number two is more aspirational for my husband and me. We want to grow broccoli. So last year, our broccoli was taken out by our groundhog visitor back in our shed. And he or she took off the top of the broccoli stems before we could even get a good head going. And so I'm going to try again. I sowed these seeds about 3 weeks ago. And so I'm going to let it get a good root system on it before I transfer it out. I am going to try mine in a container because I feel like I have more control over it. I'm able to cover it up, hover over it a little bit. I like to hover over my plants if you guys haven't noticed that. But this says that these seeds can be sown indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. I totally did not meet that. I've only sown these 3 weeks ago. And this also says that you get your mature crop within 60 to 80 days. So that's what you can look forward to with the broccoli. You just have to count forward. So 60 to 80 days, it's going to put you 2 months out. That's why they want you to start these so early in the season so that you can try to get a harvest but we'll see what happens. What I've done is for the seedlings that I started 3 weeks ago, they were in these small cells. So I potted them up into solo cups in the hopes that the broccoli will get a root system, get really strong. By the time I put them out, I want them to really have a good chance of thriving. So number 3 is sweet peas. So I like this crop because I'm blessed to have a great mentor in my life, one of my great mentors in my life, and she used to be a chef. And so she says you can harvest these as baby crops. You can eat pea shoots. She says they're amazing in salads. So I do want to try that. But I also know that they love cool temperatures. And so I know they're perfect for this time of year. Again, I started these 3 weeks ago, and I will soon pot these up as well. Now, number 4, it is squash. So I have my patty pan squash growing already, and I've also started the summer squash. I will hold the summer squash indoors longer before I put it out. But my patty pan, I know that can thrive in the spring because I grew them last year. And let me just flip back quickly to the sweet peas. I did not get a sweet pea harvest last year. So that's another thing. I'm going back to just prove that I can do it. And plus, I want to really see how they taste. So, but back to my squash. I knew that I was able to grow patty pan squash last year, and I like the taste of them. They're really just tender, creamy. I think I have some nostalgia associated with yellow squash. I grew up in a multi-generational household, and we often had squash for breakfast over grits, cooked down in some smoked meat and some onions. Amazing. If you've never tried it, you need to try that. Last one, guys. Number 5 is Swiss Chard. Swiss Chard. Now, I did not successfully grow this last year either, but I'm determined to do it. So I have a 5-color silver beet variety that I got from last year. And funnily enough, the Swiss Chard comes like, if you grew beets, it comes in a little bundle of seeds. I guess it's more like a cluster. But yeah, I am wanting to grow this. This also matures in 50 days. So I'm going to give it another whirl, see what happens. But I know that it likes cool weather. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a crop that you can even grow throughout the summer. It seems to be really an all-weather type of crop. So I'm determined, and I want to see the beautiful colors. I mean, they have like a ruby color, yellow color, pink, a deeper reddish color like a fuchsia, and also a white stem. So I am curious to see if I can get these going. Guys, I've given you 5 different crops that you can grow right now. Get your seeds. Remember, you can go to botanicalinterest.com for seeds. You can go to rareseeds.com. You can go to your local stores, your local big box stores. You can go to your nurseries and get your seeds. If you don't want to get your seeds, you can go get starter plants, but go and get something. These are crops that you know will tolerate the cool. So you can get started now. There is no excuse. I will keep you updated. Guys, until next time, I want you to be intentional about those areas in your life where you are going to make room to grow.